Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian, the Three Topics Gamer here to share another one of my awesome top 5 list videos to share with you today. Now, this video idea was actually sent to me by one of my awesome viewers going by the name of Mr. Rain932, who also just so happens to be a fellow YouTuber himself who I think has some amazing potential. And on top of that, Mr. Rain932 also became my #1 and first Patreon, which I'm extremely excited for. So thanks, Rain932, and I am absolutely happy to be doing this video for you. Although I just so happen to hope that you'll be a little bit satisfied with the results of this video, because you want to know what are my top 5 favorite video game antagonists. And it's a little bit cryptic because this video is more or less based on reputation and from what I've heard than my own personal opinion, because I think in order to be a truly great antagonist you really need to have a long history of games, and there aren't too many characters that are like that in terms of PlayStation. So a lot of these characters outside of the #5 spot are more or less Nintendo and one Sega character. So Rain932, I hope you're okay with that. I know a bit about these characters, but it's been a really long time since I've actually played one of their games. So starting off real simple with probably the most familiar antagonist that I am aware of, coming from one of my all-time favorite franchises, and the #5 spot just so happens to be... Number 5 on my list has to go to the one character on this list that I can openly say that I actually know the best, and that is Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil series. Now, Wesker is the original antagonist of the franchise, and his presence is always felt, even after he was killed off in Resident Evil 5. He's a master manipulator, a deadly close quarters combatant, and personality-wise, he carries himself like he's the coolest guy in video games. Though one could really question why he decided to visit the Matrix in order to do his clothes shopping, but that's beside the point. Now, if he has any really one weakness that has gotten him into trouble in more than one occasion, it is the fact that he does have an overbloated ego, which ultimately led to his death. But even so, it is very unlikely that we will ever see any other antagonist within the entire franchise ever reach his level of reputation that he has built over the course of the franchise, which is ultimately the reason why I'm giving him the #5 spot on my list. Number 4 on my list has to go to the one character that I consider to be the most iconic villain that I've ever seen in a fighting video game, and that is M.Bison from Street Fighter. Now, I don't know who the main villain is in Dead or Alive, and I don't know who this guy from Tekken is, and as much of a hardcore fan of Mortal Kombat as I am, even I have to admit that Shao Kahn's reputation has been seriously watered down in recent years. But just from what I've seen of him over the years, and from what I can remember of him when I was a kid, M.Bison has always seemed to remain on top. I mean, he's a pretty intimidating looking guy, and he was pretty badass in the animated film, and I think I speak for everybody when I can say that he was without question the best part of the live action film. And visually, he just looks like someone you just wouldn't want to mess with. And though I must admit that I haven't played a Street Fighter game in over 20 years, I'm fairly certain that I have never actually beaten Bison in the arcade. But even so, I would still give him the title as the greatest fighting game villain that I've ever seen, even though I know very little about him. Number 3 on my list is going to go to Dr. Robotnik. Now, long before the modern console wars were waging on, it used to be between just two companies, that being Nintendo and Sega. Now, I was always more of a Nintendo kid, while my brother was more of a Sega fan, and Sonic the Hedgehog is a perfect opposite to the Italian plumber. And though Dr. Robotnik's long-standing rivalry with the Hedgehog is perhaps not as strong as it once was, as someone who grew up in the 90s, the Mad Doctor did seem to still have a lasting impression on me. I would also like to put it out there that it is only going to be because of Jim Carrey's performance as Robotnik that is literally going to be the only reason that I'm even going to see the upcoming movie in theaters. As a creator of many deadly machines, he is exceptionally brilliant and has managed to build one of the most powerful and impressive collection of robotic enemies ever assembled in any video game. And even though some of those creations have turned on him and he is constantly being beaten by Sonic, that has not made this Doctor think about even giving up, granting him an incredible level of resilience and earning a great deal of respect from me and many other kids just like me, or at least at the time. And it is for those reasons that I think that he is more than worthy enough to hold the number 3 spot on my list. Number 2 on my list is going to go to Ganon from the Legend of Zelda series. And I'm going to be honest with you guys that out of anybody on this list, Ganon is perhaps the one character that I know the least about. His spot on this list is based solely on from what I've heard and what Nintendo fanboys and girls have told me about him. I've only beaten 3 Zelda games over my lifetime, those being Link to the Past and the Oracle of Ages and Season games on the Game Boy Color, which I beat back in 2001 just before I made my transition to becoming an exclusive PlayStation gamer only. Now, I don't know what Ganon is, I don't know what he's done, and I can't confirm anything that has been told to me about him. The reason he's so high on this list is based solely on his reputation. Now, if this guy is still going strong against Link after so many installments and variations, then that's gotta count for something. So, I guess that's why he gets the number 2 spot on my list. Number 1 on my list could only go to one character, and that just so happens to be the main antagonist to who many consider to be the unquestionable greatest video game character ever created, and that is Bowser. I don't really think I could say any more about Bowser, because even to a hardcore Sony guy like me, I can easily say that Bowser eclipses any villain that I've ever encountered in any PlayStation game that I've ever played to date. He is the classic villain with a simple objective in which he simply wants to kidnap the princess and Mario has to go to save her. That simplicity has managed to stand the test of time, and I can't see that going out of style anytime soon. Now, Bowser may be nothing more than a giant fire-breathing mutated turtle, but he is still iconic and embodies everything that a villain in any video game series should strive to be. And even though it's been a very, very long time since I've actually played a great Mario game, with the quality of this series having gone down over the years, that still doesn't change the fact that Bowser's spot on this list is solidified. I mean, heck, he really was the very first video game antagonist I ever faced all the way back when I was 5 years old, and he has created some of my earliest memories that I still treasure to this day. And having such a personal connection to me as a gamer, that is more than enough reason to grant him the number 1 spot and getting the title of being the greatest video game antagonist that I've ever encountered. Yeah, and that concludes my top 5 favorite video game antagonists. Despite the fact that from 4 to 1, it's been quite a long time since I've actually played one of their games, but heck, I'm sure, if I had played them, I'm sure I would have enjoyed them. Even though one in particular, I'm more of a fan of its competitor. Another one I haven't played since, the early 16-bit days, and in terms of the other ones, it's been a long time since I've had any real fun with Nintendo. But heck, I think that despite the fact that I haven't played their games, the fact that they have their spots, I think that's a hell of a reputation. So with that out of the way, now that you guys know my top favorite antagonists in video games, I guess you could say that, I would like to know what are some of your favorite video game antagonists in video games. Share your list with me and everyone else in the comments down below, and if you happen to hopefully like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to press the subscribe button to help grow the channel. And like always, don't forget to press one of the links in the description down below so you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and be sure to support me on Patreon in order to hopefully get your next video game topic ideas videos posted on my channel. So with that out of the way, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.